Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, 5:42 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Pretty cloudy out there, but I see little blue sky coming into play. Daylight's arriving. If it was clear sky, it'd already be bright right here, but we have a taste challenge. I don't think it's going to be too close, but I get surprised oftentimes. I'll be right there. Hold on, let me start this thing here. All right. I have from 1934, from what I can tell, Clan MacGregor, 100% Scotch whiskey, distilled, aged, and blended in Scotland. It's actually bottled in New Jersey, Edison, New Jersey. This is part of William Grant and Company. They bought Clan MacGregor a long time ago, like 1973. It was started by somebody else, though, like 1934. And that was always their claim to fame, or in some people's mind, infamy. They said, we can sell it cheap because we bottle it here in America. And apparently it was always New Jersey. So I got this at Walmart. It was $9.72 for the 750 milliliter bottle. They relabeled, they put a new updated label about 4 years ago. It looks sharp, huh? You can still find some of the red cap. Used to have a red cap. Older style labels laying around here and there in the stores. It's a mixture of grain whiskey and malt whiskey, or a single malt whiskey. That's barley malt. It's probably about 80% grain. You say, what kind of grain? Well, maize, corn. Oh, well, same general principle as American blended and Canadian blended whiskey. But I find that the Clan MacGregor is woodier, peatier than the others. In fact, I had never tried Scotch before until I tried this at my daughter's apartment, and it threw me off. Like I was saying, did you have these glasses stored in some old cabinet, some old antique cabinet, and it made the glass have a funny smell? But I realized it was what was in the the whiskey. That was 3 or 4 years ago. Okay. I guess it was 3 years ago, I think, because I went to the Alabama Middle Tennessee State game that day. Middle Tennessee State, the visiting team. Okay, Inver House is the competitor. Inver House Green Plaid. Same thing, 100% Scotch whiskey, mostly grain alcohol, some grain whiskey, some single malt. There's an actual distillery called Inver House, but this is handled by Sazerac for the U.S. market. Okay, the Green Plaid. This was a liter. This is a liter, and it was $11.99. Now, when Walmart got rid of the glass bottle, Clan MacGregor, and went to the big plastic bottles, they had a closeout, and I got the next bottle. I have a full bottle I haven't opened. $5. My friend David was like, "Why you didn't get me one?" I said, "Well, I didn't know if you wanted it." "Oh, I'm going to go buy one." I said, "Well, by the time you get to Walmart, it'll be gone. There's no way it's going to last." I just happened to see it. There's no way it's going to be there. And of course it wasn't. $5 or $7.50. Not going to be around. All right. So Inver House hit the market, from what I was able to find, 1961. I read some article where somebody said 1956. But they didn't provide any kind of detail. I had a trademark acquisition facts on it, even had the date, the month and the day, 1961. Said first used in commerce, U.S. Department, or the Trademark Bureau, whatever it is, department. So that seems more accurate. Jeremy Vincent says, "Morning, Ryan." Morning to you, Jeremy. We had a good hangout last night on the open beer flow, the modified Wildcard Wednesday. You could bring any beer as long as it was a strong lager. And Michael brought a strong lager according to the English, the British law, current British law requirement guidelines. All right. G and JK says, good morning. Love me that Clan MacGregor. Yeah, it is a good one. Okay, so I think Clan MacGregor is going to win because I think it's going to have, like I said, more smokiness. It's going to, I got to watch the color because Clan MacGregor is more golden. It has that green tint to it. Some of these Scotch whiskeys have that kind of weird green look. So I got to keep that in mind. Nice metal cap, too. Gives it a little more fanciness. Man, it's not a fancy product. Fancy looking bottle, nice bottle. The Inver House, just a standard Sazerac liter bottle with that lip at the bottom. You can get any kind of Sazerac, Canadian whiskey, American blended whiskey, bourbon whiskey, rum, gin, don't matter. It's going to be in that Sazerac standard bottle general. Usually they have some alternative bottles. But when you see that, usually when you see that lip at the bottom and that cylindrical kind of standard thing, you say, whoop, that's Sazerac, and whoop, that's usually right. I don't know, this bottle looks kind of dirty. It's not. I keep my stuff clean, but I don't know. I don't like the way it looks. I want my vessels to look nice. So, wipe it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. All right. In 2 days, I'm planning to do Inver House versus J&B, Justerini and Brooks. Well, that's going to turn out. You just know Inver House got no chance. It's fine. I would recommend it, but don't expect some elaborate flavors because you're just not going to get that. But it's a good. You pay $11.99 a liter. Okay, so that's all right. Oh yeah, it was really fun. Thanks for the hangout. Oh, you're welcome. I always seem like I got to fill in for Eric every Wednesday. I was glad he took it over. I was like, good, I don't have to deal with it. And then he was like, I'm going to band practice now on Wednesdays. And people were saying, would you take it over? I said, sure. Sure. I'm not complaining, but it's easier just to join it, and don't have to do anything. Okay, nice alcohol legs with both. Unfortunately, I put too much of the Inver House. It's got a good, I don't know what the measurement is, because neither one of these is a lot. These are tiny glasses, but it's a good bit more. So let me. Now I can function today. Some people are saying, that's right. That's what you do. All right. Well, I'm really not like that. I'm more like that with coffee, really. If I don't drink coffee, I feel sick. Like I feel sick. You might say you're addicted to coffee. Well, that's probably true. If I drink it every day and I feel sick if I don't drink it, that's a pretty good sign that I'm hooked on phonics. I'm hooked on coffee. But oh yeah, I forgot to look at the appearance. I think this is the more greenish looking one. But now I'm confused. Well, that's good. It's good I'm confused. Just making sure. But if I didn't drink alcohol the whole day, I probably wouldn't care. I mean, I like to drink it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel sick. So the alcohol I want, the coffee I almost like need. Oh well, it's inexpensive. If it was cigarettes, that'd be a problem because those are so expensive. And now we got the like police state, sort of like, you know, the government really coming down on people on cigarettes and distribution and sales. But at the same time, they're flipping and promoting marijuana, you know, like kind of like backhand promoting that. You say, so the government wants you to take a psychedelic and doesn't want you to take a stimulant. Stimulant gives you a sharper thinking, more alert. Psychedelic changes the way you think. Maybe you could be more easily influenced. Oh, well, I better not say too much. All right. This smells very grain oriented. Whoa. I drink one or a couple of cups of coffee every day too. One or two? Okay. I drank 3. But I only put sugar in the first cup. Because I don't want to, you know, I think it's probably bad to have too much sugar or something. I'll see these people at work, they just pouring sugar in each cup. First of all, I say, how could you drink it? It'd be so sweet, like candy. And how could this possibly be healthy? You know what I'm saying? Like massive amounts of sugar in every cup of coffee. And they drink coffee all day long. It's not like me drinking 3 cups and then I get to work. I might drink a little, they have the little small styrofoam cups, one of those, and then one with lunch. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. But these people, they bring their own big cups to work. They pouring sugar in there. And I said, oh no. Seems very bad to me. This smells very grain alcohol. You say, what about the smoke? What about the peat? All the Speyside and the Highlands and all these different areas of Scotland. Well, that's not really going to come across in something like this. Not for $11.99 a liter. Oh, you get some peat. I mean, you're not going to smell this and think it's a Kentucky Deluxe, you know, from Kentucky, or Club 400 from Maryland, and like some inexpensive American blended whiskey. You're not going to think that. But you're not going to smell it and say, oh, Lord, it must really be expensive. It's great. No. Come on. Now over here, see, that one's felt heavier, though. Remember I said I poured too much Inver House? But I sipped some of it down. But still, even that little bit, I'm very sensitive to weight on my hands. So, I don't know. I don't like to give these things away. I want it to be a true challenge, you know? You feel me? All right. Over here, it's not too elaborate. But it's not too elaborate either. But there seems to be more of this dough. I call it white, like really light bread dough. To me, and that's what the single malt whiskeys taste like, because people will say, try this single malt scotch, or try this other single malt scotch. And I say, I can pick up a lot of that. I call it doughy. Or I don't know what else to call it, bread dough. Like, it's not corn grain. Like grain whiskey is like corn alcohol. It doesn't taste like that. So to me, that's a key indicator signal. Now, this is not smoky. It's not PT. Okay, you get used to that smell, so then you can't detect it. Like the first time I smelled it, whoa, it was really exotic. Now it's like not really exotic. So it's kind of watery in the nose. Like I swear, you're picking up tap water in the nose here. I think it's Clan MacGregor, but I haven't tasted them except for that little preliminary taste just to drink it even. So let's see. John and Illy was talking about getting Inver House. Yeah, you can get it. It's good, I guess, but I wouldn't be going around searching for it. You pick up some of that doughy character, but really the predominant flavor is the grain alcohol. Is it smooth? Wouldn't really go use that description. It's kind of harsh, really, with the grain. It's bitey. Woo! Hooey, hooey, baby. Tell you one thing, man. This boat is a mess. There's like little glimpses of real good scotch, like a little smoke, oh, and then it's gone. A little peat, and then it's gone. A lot of grain, and it don't go away. It doesn't go away. No, no, the grain, the grain, the grain, the grain, the grain, the grain. I think a real connoisseur of single malt Scotch whiskey would be appalled by this. They would say, "Oh no, what is all of this?" You know, but that would be kind of comical to watch them taste it. Just see their eyes; they'd be so shocked, you know. Oh yeah, more water, more dough, more peat. Smoke, yeah, really, smoke ain't playing a role. Smoke is really not coming into play with either one of these. So some people tell me, I don't like Scotch, I hate that smoky taste. And then I'll tell them, well, don't you always talk about eating smoked meat? Oh, I love smoked brisket or something. I was like, well, just said you don't like the smoke, but you like the smoke. You know, I hate smoky Scotch. Let's go eat some smoked pork. Oh, okay. But maybe they don't like drinking or something. I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever. But regardless of that, it doesn't even come into play here. There's no smokiness. So if you don't like smoky whiskeys, drink these because you won't get that. You won't have to contend with that. They're not there. It ain't there. You know, Arby's has the meats for sandwiches, but this don't have the smoke for Scotch. Woo! How long are these aged? I think Clan MacGregor says 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. The minimum is 3, anyhow. Complex. I love these labels. A blend of our finest. See, they save their finest malt and grain whiskeys. It's strange that they would save their finest grain whiskey and malt whiskey for their cheapest product. It's odd. It would almost make you think that what they're saying isn't exactly true, but complex. Complex. I'm not really detecting that. Sweet. Well, yeah, maybe that. And mellow flavor. Yeah, it's kind of mellow. Mellow sounds better than saying bland, you know. All right. Yeah, and there's this big old article on the back. Blending of. It just goes on and on about how unmatched and fabulous it is. But it doesn't tell you where in Scotland the stuff comes from. So, and it doesn't give an age statement. So the minimum is 3 years. So it's probably 3 years, but it could be more, I guess. This one here, same thing, superbly light, rich, rare. It's so fabulous. You just can't believe it. It's so fabulous for only $11.99 a liter. And yeah. But here it says age 3 years. So. Incredibly dark for only 3 years old. In a used barrel. You would almost think they are adding coloring to it. Ron, Angel says, Ron, your storytelling when you speak on your history videos is outstanding. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like that. I like doing it too. When I taught history, the students would be into it. Well, because it's more interesting if you make it like an actual exciting story than just saying, then in 1941, Germany did this and blah, 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 blah. You know, they get bored to tears on that kind of presentation, but I never could do it like that, you know. I mean, I like a history lesson like that, personally. Like just monotonous array of facts. Okay, I like that. But I'm into history, you see. But now most people, they can't stand it. So I would try to make it like a story, you know, which it is a story. It's his story. All right, you know, or her story or their story. And these are historical too, these scotches. It's like you're drinking the history, you know. M. Dan says, hey, Ron. Hey, M. Dan. Craft Beer Tastic says, happy D-Day, everyone. Well, I don't know if we should use the word happy. Maybe like, let's remember the solemn events of the Normandy invasion. Like my friend Tom, who was in the Vietnam War, says, I don't like when people say happy Memorial Day. He said, what's happy about it? You're thinking about all these people killed in a war. He said, but they don't mean anything by it, of course. You know, they don't mean to be offensive. And I understand that. 75th anniversary of D-Day. I still took exception to CBS News last night, though. They're saying, we're here at the beaches where D-Day occurred. It was a turning point in the war. And I'm saying, how is it a turning point? You know, it's important, but a turning point? They don't even explain it. You know, they didn't even bother explaining. Like, I wanted to say, I wish I could have contacted CBS during the broadcast, say, hey, explain that. How is it a turning point? Well, we just saying that. You know, that would be what they'd have to say. We just saying that. And Fox News was worse this morning. They really didn't know what they were talking about. This lady was up there. I don't know. They always have all these women. You say, you don't like women, huh? I didn't say that. But if you ever watch Fox, you will see a lot of women in tight dresses with their hair real nice. Usually middle-aged women, and they just talking a lot. You say, well, you got a problem with that? I didn't say I had a problem with it. I said, that's what I noticed. All right. But this lady was talking, and man, I was saying, you don't know what you're talking about. She was really off track. I said, wow, it's amazing. I should go on Fox because I do know what I'm talking about. She didn't. She was saying, and just think, if they wouldn't have gone to D-Day, the German and we had to stop Germany because they could have come across the ocean and invaded America. I was like, wow, this person is living in a fantasy world. But she doesn't realize it's a fantasy, you see. Oh, well, I don't want to get into all that, but it's amazing what people say on television. You can't go across a 30-mile narrow channel, right? You can't get across a 30-mile narrow channel. But you're going to go 3,000 miles with an inferior navy and somehow land and take over the biggest country in the world. Yeah, right, sure. Okay, let's go watch Star Trek. That's probably more realistic than that contention. Afternoon, Ron says Sarah Britton. Afternoon? Oh yeah, you're in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, I believe. I can't keep up. All right, so I think this. Yeah, I've been watching the D-Day ceremony this morning. I was watching some of it, but it was going on a long time, you know. All right, I remember the 40th anniversary with Reagan making the speech. It's hard to believe because I remember when they had the 40th anniversary D-Day and a lot of the veterans were only like 58 years old. I remember going to the 40th anniversary of the end of the war in Europe. They had a conference called 40th anniversary of the end of the war in Europe. And it was a big conference, lasted for days in New Orleans. And they had speakers from all over the world, Germans too. And my grandfather was there. He's the one that paid for it. He wanted me to go. And yeah, a lot of these guys were like 59, 60, 61, 62. You know, they weren't like with a cane going around like now. They're so old. And I can remember, really, I can remember when some of the World War II veterans were in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? Like 47, 48 years old. They didn't even seem old, you know, like, well, they weren't old. So people would say, oh, he was in World War II. Well, you wouldn't think like, oh, anything. It was just like normal, you see. And then I remember when the Vietnam veteran guys were young, like 20 something. He was in the Vietnam War. He'd be young. All right, 22, 23. Time flies when you're doing whiskey examinations. Mm-mm. This has got to be Inver House. I mean, what am I saying? Clan MacGregor. This has got to be the Clan MacGregor. Now, honestly, is it way, way better like I thought? Not really. See, you get food. And I'm starting to get a lot of alcohol pickup. You know, like pure grain alcohol. Oh, man. Ouch. Yikes. Woo. I always use those little terms, right? Those little expressions. So I think it's Clan MacGregor, but it's really not winning much. It wins, but it doesn't win by much. So never know until you do it blind. Until you do it blind. CM, Clan MacGregor. Ha ha ha. And I did it. I did it. Well, I would like to brag, but actually, it was a lot closer than I had predicted. I thought it was going to be a runaway, and it wasn't. So, would I pay extra for Clan MacGregor? I guess I would, but you wouldn't have to because they're the same price. See what I mean? You don't have to pay extra. They're both cheap. So since they're both cheap, what do you pick? Clan MacGregor. There you go. End of the story. Clan MacGregor wins. Now, is J and B going to tie with Inver? J and B will. I'm really serious this time. I was serious last time, but I think J and B will absolutely and completely destroy Inver House. Inver House is a nice little whiskey. It's got a pretty label, and it will get destroyed by J and B, which is actually very good and has a better label. Costs more though. Costs about $20 a 750. $20 for a 750 milliliter as opposed to $11.99 a liter. Damn well better be better. You know what I mean? It's going to be better. I mean, J&B is like a legitimate, real blended Scotch whiskey. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't have to be embarrassed to bring that to a party. These other ones, everybody knows you're just trying to save money and be cheap. But J&B people would say, oh yeah, I like that. My uncle used to drink that with me when we watched baseball or something. So that's not going to even really be a fair contest. All right, but if you want to watch it in 2 days, go ahead. You can watch it, and you can see a slaying, a destruction, a catastrophic. It's a challenge in name only. You got me? Now, what about Cutty Sark? Well, it'll win. You know, it's going to win. It'll beat Clan MacGregor. I mean, Inver House, sure. But Cutty Sark's kind of bland, you know what I mean? But it doesn't have that grain alcohol, you know, that jackhammer roughness. So Cutty Sark is smooth. It's just bland. Doesn't have a lot of character. And it's about $14 a bottle, but it's better. I mean, come on. Now, the other ones in the lineup, the 100 Pipers and all that, well, we'll see. Well, those would be more competitive. Those would be more competitive challenges. Sarah says, may I ask what time it is in Louisiana? And I would love to visit there one day with Ruku. You're welcome to visit. It's 6:11 a.m. It's 11 minutes after 6 a.m. in Louisiana. So I think where you are is probably around 1 in the afternoon. Yeah. So it's early morning here. The sun is just coming up. You see, what places in Louisiana would you recommend to visit? Says Sarah. Well, of course, that would depend on what you like to do. You can tour old plantation homes. or see actual living plantations that are still doing work where they're growing sugar cane. Some of those still exist, but they have to, the workers are employees now. You know what I mean? A little different situation 160 years ago. You know what I mean? But same kind of setup when they have modern machinery, more modern machinery today, electrical equipment. But you can see a working plantation. You could go to Tabasco, McElhenney, and see how they make Tabasco hot sauce, the most famous hot sauce in the world. You could take a tour there. I don't think it costs any money. You might like that. You could go to New Orleans if you want. Look around. Now, a lot of people go to New Orleans and then go to the bars and drink all night. Now, I'm thinking, why would you waste your time on a trip doing that? Because you could do that at your own hometown. Most people's hometowns have bars where they could drink all night. So I don't know what the attraction is there. I mean, I had some other people I used to hang out with on beer reviews. They come to New Orleans. All they wanted to do was go to Bourbon Street and drink. I thought, you could have just like stayed in Indiana and done that, right? I mean, that's not. And they went out to restaurants. But I mean, a lot of places have restaurants. They're not maybe as good as New Orleans. I mean, we have better food, maybe. That's what people say. But I mean, I agree, I guess. I went to New York City. The food was really good, you know. But if you want to go fishing, you can go fishing. You can go deep sea fishing. You can go do freshwater fishing. Y'all could go hunting. Could go on nature trails. There's nature trails all around. You can go on a swamp tour. I mean, there's a lot to do. It's not. It's a small state, really. It's about the size of England or Great Britain, the whole Scotland and Ireland, Scotland and England together. So, but y'all have what, 70 million people? We got 4, so it's not too crowded. Bucky Denson, what's up? Just chilling, drinking the bud. All right, enough of that. So Clan MacGregor wins. Sarah, y'all come on down to Louisiana. Remember, you can join Alcohol Eggs if you want to hang out over there. I'll approve the membership. I don't approve membership when it's obviously a scammer who's a spammer, you know. If you let them join, they're going to start posting stuff about get Ray-Ban sunglasses because you just tell. You can always tell, you know, or you can usually tell. They're not a legitimate member who wants to participate. They just want to do a bunch of bull. Okay, so see you in 2 days. Thank you, Ron and Jeremy. And Ron, what your favorite whiskey you've tried? Favorite whiskey? That's a hard question to answer. I don't really know. Probably like the Four Roses 10-year age special edition is like $120 a bottle, something like that. Somebody gave me a sample of it. Yeah, it was really good. It was great. Yeah. What's up, Bucky? All right, well, I got to go. What's up, Jeremy? I got to go, y'all. I can't be on this. Okay, so talk to you later. Thanks, guys.